Hello, Facebook Live, and welcome to our student engagement series. And I am Kellie Davis, and I'm running for Oceanside City Council District 3, and I want to welcome you back as we continue this series. And today on the show, we have an amazing human doing, Lee Williams. He's a social media and communications director of the Negro League Centennial Celebration. And he's over at Howard University. Of course, this is where our campaign manager, Venus Johnson, who is also joining us, of course, couldn't do this without Venus, goes. And she wanted to have Lee Williams on because this is an amazing event. They had to do it virtually this year for obvious reasons. And when she started talking about Lee and what he was doing and with the, ancestors and all the things of the past and Black business and encouraging entrepreneurship, I said, oh yeah, let's do it. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome the amazing and seems to be very talented Lee Williams. Thank you for joining us, Lee.
Thank you for having me, Kelly, and hello, Venus.
Well, let's just get right into it. Okay, the Negro League Centennial Celebration. It's not necessarily a sanctioned Howard University. It's a student initiative, which I think is just awesome in and of itself, that this is not something that was already done. It was something that you all felt that you all called to do. And I am all about innovation and vision. So could you tell us a little bit about that, how it happened, why it happened?
Okay, the Negro League Centennial Celebration initially was thought of by my good friend Jalen Mitchell, and he wanted to have a celebrity softball game near the campus of Howard University to commemorate the 100-year anniversary of the Negro Leagues. But obviously with coronavirus, that kind of got interrupted, to say the least. So as a group, as we were putting together the game, we decided we still wanted to commemorate these great people and highlight their accomplishments. So we started a year-long initiative to highlight the Black community and highlight the Negro Leagues. And it's gonna end, hopefully, with the Negro League celebration game in 2021.
Awesome. And let's just, for those people, because you know what, some people might be hearing about the Negro League for the first time. And we were talking about ancestors, and then, I started yapping. And let me just say right now, this is not an endorsement. Howard University has not endorsed this campaign. This Negro League Centennial Celebration has not. So I want to be very clear that we are joining to talk about this wonderful event. And for those who do not know anything about the Negro Leagues, can you just share a little bit of historical perspective for people?
Sure. So the Negro Leagues were founded in 1920. A man named Rube Foster gathered 8 Black owners and developed their own league separate from the MLB, because at this segregated time in America, obviously Black players and white players couldn't play together. And the Negro Leagues were fairly successful. The players earned about double the national median income at that time. Black people were very community oriented, and they were unified at that time through the Negro Leagues. And it was just a great organization. So that's just a little bit on it.
Yeah, and I think that it was, we were also speaking about, those who have gone before. We were talking, there's a movie, and I want to know, I think it was on HBO. Do you know where I'm going, Lee? It was with Jackie Robinson, Satchel Paige was also, these were the characters, real life characters. And I can't think of another gentleman's name, but we were also speaking that everyone knows Jackie Robinson.
Yes.
He's the one that is said to have integrated baseball, and he also came from the Negro Leagues. Can you share a little bit of light about, you were talking before about there were some other baseball players, and put that in context with Jackie Robinson?
Yes. So the first 2 players to actually play in the MLB, the first 2 Black players actually played in the 1800s. And they're not really talked about, and I don't know why they're not famous. But yes, we all know about Jackie Robinson being the first player to integrate the major leagues, but he didn't just come out of thin air. He came from the Negro Leagues. He played for the Kansas City Monarchs, and he was spotted there, and he was then taken to the major leagues. But as a collective, the Negro Leagues had very great black players, and they all need to be honored and just looked at like Jackie Robinson is in their own way.
And I thought it was interesting, and I know since I'm a writer and also producer of programming, I know sometimes things can be embellished, but in this, and I really wish I had the name of this film that I saw, it was also said that Jackie Robinson, it wasn't like he was the best player
Yeah,
from the Negro Leagues, you know, and isn't that something to say he wasn't the best player,
yeah,
but he was the player that they felt could represent the integration and have a certain kind of manner and decorum about him.
exactly.
Yeah.
The fact that Jackie Robinson endured all that he endured and didn't lose his mind is crazy. I don't think I could do that. And the Negro League, the best player might have been Satchel Paige, who he did play in the MLB, but he didn't play until he was 42 in the MLB. And it's just sad to see that segregation and racism really prevented other people from flourishing in the sport that everyone should have been integrated in the beginning. And actually, a fun fact, the Negro Leagues and MLB played a lot of exhibition games back then, and the Negro Leagues beat the MLB more than the MLB beat them. So,
And I think it's really important to also say that what you alluded to in the beginning, when these baseball teams would play, the community would come out
yes,
and it would be such an event. And it's like one of those bittersweet moments. Okay, perhaps some of them wanted to integrate in the leagues, but I would imagine many of them were like, we're good. You know,
exactly.
we're really happy with what we have here and the integration of it. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but that it left this void, I think, for that community.
Yeah. As we can see now, the void was that Black people weren't as unified anymore when it came to baseball. Now it was predominantly white sport. And although it's good that everybody's integrated, it also did have a negative effect on the Negro Leagues and kind of forgotten about. But baseball wouldn't be what it is today without these players that played in the Negro Leagues. Uh, there's actually, where the Howard Hospital is, there is a baseball stadium there for the Negro Leagues team in Washington, D.C. And it's just an event where all people could come together, and that was just taken away from us. So I think that is a good point.
And we were also discussing about these two gentlemen, and where I'm certainly going to do my research on who you're referring to, or maybe you can send me their names.
Okay, yeah. The Fleetwood Brothers. Yes.
The Fleetwood Brothers.
Yes.
And can you tell the Fleetwood Brothers? Can you tell a little bit about even their talk about politics? Let's get at it. Can you tell a little bit of what you were sharing with us? Yeah.
Sure. So not only were the Fleetwood Brothers the first two African-American people to play in the MLB, they also owned restaurants, they owned a hotel, they owned a movie theater, and in the early 1900s, they were from Ohio. So in the early 1900s, there was a Black man hanged in Ohio, and they felt as though the Republican governor in Ohio did not highlight or care about the hanging. So they started their own political party in Ohio, and it actually had some power. They didn't win the election, but it showed that as a unified group, we do have power, and we don't have to just adhere to what a certain group says. As Black people, we can unify and show that we can do whatever ourselves as well.
And I appreciate that historical context, because it's only now that people are realizing that before, up until the 60s, many Blacks, the Republican Party was their chosen party. And then things shifted because the Democrats in the 60s then talked about the civil rights. So then they turned, obviously, and here we are now. But I think, you know, and people always say Lincoln was a Republican. So it's just giving the context, but understand that that party was different, had a different agenda that Black folks were aligned with back then, that I don't feel that many of us, there are some of us that still do support that particular party. And I like the fact that you brought this up because it's a good segue into the other part of what you all are doing, which I just love. You said it's a year-long initiative. It's a year-long, and you concentrate on building Black businesses and entrepreneurship. Can you speak to a little bit to that side of it?
Yes, so our core values are community, remembrance, education, aid, and mobilization. So in September, that was the first month that we really got going, and we wanted to honor Black businesses in that month. So first, we on our Instagram page, we explained how the Negro Leagues were successful financial wise. We talked about Seneca Village, which was a Black neighborhood in New York before they were displaced and Central Park was placed there. Talked about Black Wall Street. And then we highlighted small Black businesses. We contacted businesses and asked if we could put them on our page. And then at the end of the month, we held a vote to see who was the Black business of the month. They all were deserving, but a business called the Icy Cosmetics won, and we raised about $900 for them, and it felt really good to give it to them. And then this month, our plan is, well, not our plan, we advocated for voting. So we wanted to educate people on how voting is important. We wanted to show people how our ancestors fought so hard, how people in the Negro Leagues fought so hard for us to vote. And then next month, we're going to be focusing on aid, volunteering. In December, we're going to be focusing on scholarship. And in 2021, we still haven't worked out all the details, but we're going to keep going.
Well, I know that Venus is just chomping at the bit that she's not on campus with you all. Is that right, Venus? Did you hear about this, all the yummy stuff that they were doing from a distance there? How you feeling about it?
Yes, and it's a bittersweet thing because, you know, if I was there, I would be right on the front lines, right there with them, and I really wish that I was in Washington, D.C. right now. But it's okay because I'm also I'm filled with so much joy just to see how amazing my friends are. And it's just, we're the future, and I'm so happy to be amongst such amazing friends, and my Howard family is one of a kind. So I love all of their initiatives, all of their bright ideas, and their determination to, you know, go against the status quo and go after their dreams. So it's amazing.
And in the spirit, we were talking again, my pre-interview. So we were talking, and I was asking Lee Williams if he heard about Curt Flood. So in the spirit of entrepreneurship, invention, and ingenuity, and encouraging us to think out of the box, I would like the Facebook audience to definitely, you know, do an internet search on who Curt Flood was. And he was they say the father of free agency. He lost his career as a baseball player, but I think it's very timely that one of the things we were discussing with another student organization yesterday at Maricosta College is that a lot of people are dissatisfied with the current political system, and right now there seems to be this renaissance of thinking things differently. Can you speak a little bit about that, Lee?
Yes, I think a lot of people, especially our generation, are not pleased with the political situation that we have. We have a Democratic and Republican system, and it's not supposed to be that way. There shouldn't just be two parties that we have to adhere to or that people have to vote for. And we want to push for people to understand that there are opportunities for you to be yourself in a political system, to advocate for policies that you think are right for you. And it's important that our ancestors fought for the right for us to vote for everybody, and we need to show that. So
I do appreciate that. And my great grandfather on my mother's side, Alexander David Dantzler in Orangeburg, South Carolina, he ran for Congress in the 1880s, I believe it was.
oh, wow.
And for me, being of an older generation, we were taught that, you know, Black people, they weren't really, you know, poor us, you know, we were slaves and didn't have any opportunities and we weren't inventive. The Dantzler family was quite successful in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And the sabotage of that particular family by the powers that be, I was only as an adult aware of all of these accomplishments, and it was not necessarily written down. It's what, you know, it's what we call the word. It's the spoken history that gets passed down. And I just wanted to say that and piggyback on these. Can you give me the name of the brothers again? That
The Fleetwood Brothers.
The Fleetwood Brothers.
Yeah.
It's like in the spirit of that, you hear now about Black Wall Street and all these other places, but it's almost feels a little criminal that their stories have been lost, and it does feel a little intentional for us to think of us as, well, we just can't get ourselves together, when the opposite is more true, that we were able to do this. And I do enjoy the initiatives that your organization is taking. So you have some people watching here in Oceanside. They might be some young people. They might be high school, or maybe they're not so young. How do you mobilize people to get on the same page and do what you're doing? How did that happen?
Well, the number one key to that is education. And we want to not just tell Black history, we want to tell Black truth, as you said, because the history that we learn in this country a lot of the times is washed over, and it's white history, and to say the least, they have a savior complex where you see it's kind of just like Black people were enslaved, and then we freed them from slavery, and then we gave them civil rights. But that's not the case. There are a lot of successful people that aren't honored, and we want to honor them. And for the young people out there, we believe that educating them, giving them the information that they may not have known, giving them avenues to travel down where they can volunteer, where they can help others, will help mobilize them. Because without action, these theories are nothing.
So when you and your friend started this, or however it went, he started and then you came on, or you guys collab, how do you find your like-minded people? How did you all do it? For somebody's like, I think I have an idea. How do I get this idea mobilized?
Well, it's difficult, but there's 6 of us, or 6 members. 5 of us are Howard University students, and 1 of us is a Drexel student. But we're all very proud Black students, and being educated and being thirsty for knowledge kind of enabled us and motivated us to go out and make this happen. So it's all based on teamwork and motivation and pro-Blackness, to be honest.
So what are your needs for your organization? If you have an ask, what would that ask be for anybody watching?
Just pay attention. That's it. We just want people to be informed. We want people to go out and take action. We're not looking for anything really. We just want to help people. And we want to commemorate the people that came before us, the Negro League players that fought so hard for us.
And a little bit about your background, Lee. I know you said you're from Jersey. Have you always been an entrepreneur, a community advocate? Was it a particular event that was like, okay, I know that this is in my heart and I'm always going to do this thing? Has it been like that? What's your trajectory?
Well, I think my biggest inspiration are my parents. They always taught me the truth. They taught me Black history, so I was always well informed. And growing up where I grew up, experiencing instances of racism, it was just something inside me that told me I can't just sit back and allow this to happen. I had to have a voice. Coming into college, though, I had no idea what I wanted to be or what I wanted to do. But now it just seems like this is really my calling, and I just appreciate being able to have a platform to help other people learn and just fight for the right thing.
What is your major there at Howard?
I'm a criminology major, and I plan to be a lawyer, so I'm going to law school after.
That is awesome. Do you have any political aspirations yourself?
I don't, but talking to you earlier, I mean, you never know.
Yeah, Venus is going to be having to set up her cabinet once she becomes president. So, I know she's going to law school as well. So, hey, that works out. So that's good. Do you are you the only child? Do you have siblings that are also involved in politics and this kind of mindset?
I have 2 brothers. One is a year apart, and one we're a long years apart. But they're not involved in the organization, but they are very knowledgeable as well. They also spread information. They also help me become who I am. So I'm glad I have two older brothers to help me grow as a person.
I was asking Venus with the Howard students when I was growing up, and I got most of my schooling from Ann Arbor, Michigan. And we, obviously, the big three is Michigan, so you got Chrysler, Ford, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And if you weren't going to be a worker on the line, then you're going to be an engineer. You're going to go to University of Michigan, get that engineering degree, and be one of the higher ups and all of that. But fortunately for me, I had a father that was an entrepreneur as well. So I could see that it wasn't a stretch of my imagination that he would open a business. In fact, we laugh with my father now because I said, well, Daddy, I was not impressed because I thought, well, that's what Daddy does. But there's a lot of people out there, they're like, wow, you started a business, but coming from a family that kind of had that mindset and they drill you, you're going to go to college, you're going to do these things. It never was sort of a question.
Exactly.
Do you feel that your generation, are they more inclined to want to work for someone else? Are they more entrepreneurially minded? Why is that?
I believe my generation is more entrepreneurial. They want to be their own business owners because they see the possibilities. Having the internet, having social media, you can just scroll down your feed and you can see business owners. You can see people that are creative and that make a living off of it, and it's really inspiring. So people who don't have a particular career that they're interested in, they know that they're able to build something from scratch for themselves. And I think that's why a lot of us want to be entrepreneurs.
Venus, did you want to add anything to that?
I agree. I think Lee stated it very well. We have, and especially at Howard, I know we have our slang term is the Howard hustle, because we just have this drive and passion to, like he said, be our own bosses and to just eliminate the idea of having to work for somebody else, especially, when we look back at our history, the progression of it's always been that. It's always been us working for someone else. It's always been that from the beginning of time. So we really go around that and we really boycott that idea because we're like, wait, we can be our own bosses. We can start our own business. Black dollars matter. Our businesses matter. And when we look back at our history, we were the ones who we were at the forefront of every avenue, every economics institution, every educational institution. And once we understand and educate ourselves and go back to that, the possibilities are endless. So I truly adore our Howard hustle mentality and that we're leaning into a position of being our own bosses.
Awesome. So that's what it is, Lee. Is it the Howard hustle over there?
It's the Howard hustle, yes. And it's also helpful to have everyone around you because it's just motivating to see other students on their hustle and just being successful. It makes you want to do the same. So it's a great environment.
Okay, so Lee, where do they go to donate? Where do they go to get connected to this? It sounds yummy. They're like, okay, enough of this. I want to sign me up. I want some of what Lee has over there. Where do they go to find you, Lee?
Okay, so you can follow at NLCC100 on Instagram to stay updated and be involved with our organization. And every month we host events or need a little money for something, we're gonna do GoFundMes. Right now we're coming out of pocket, but last month we raised over $900 through a GoFundMe, so that was really great. And we're looking to do a scholarship in the future, so we're gonna need some help for that too. So hopefully that's what people can donate and help out.
Just out of curiosity, have you all reached out to any of the current MLB players to see about if they'd be interested in, I don't know, participating in some form or fashion?
We've reached out to a few people. They haven't responded yet. Hopefully they do. But it's really tough as an up-and-coming business to get in contact with public figures, and we know that. But we're just going to keep fighting. We know at the end of the day, it's going to all work out.
That's right. Any final words there, Lee? Anything else you feel like you want to share in your space today? Any encouraging words for?
I just want to say thank you for having me. I'm honored for the opportunity. And I want to say to everyone listening, if you have an idea and you have the motivation, you can accomplish anything. And I think that just the idea to keep fighting through whatever adversity will grant you success in life. That's what we're aiming for.
Well, thank you so much for that. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule this afternoon over there on the East Coast, this morning here on the West Coast. And I know Venus is looking forward to getting back connected with her Howard hustling family. So that's it for us on Facebook Live. We want to thank Lee Williams, the social media and communications director of the Negro League Centennial. We have in the comments where you can find Lee's organization. Please donate and please encourage our younger generation to move forward through this time. If you're like, what should I do during a time like this? Well, you can find Lee's organization and you can come involved. So thank you so much for joining us, Facebook Live. We'll see you tomorrow when we'll have another student organization on. Thank you.